Hey everyone, welcome! If you're joining us today from Bertrand's amazing community of new students, you are in exactly the right place. I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide for this explainer. Today, we're taking a really fascinating look at a piece of everyday American English that you are going to hear all the time, but, you probably won't easily find it in a standard textbook. We're going to master it together.
So, you know that feeling when you're in a conversation with a native English speaker and you just feel totally lost? It's so frustrating, right? You've studied the grammar, you literally know every single vocabulary word they're using, and yet somehow the actual meaning totally goes over your head. Well, don't worry, it is definitely not just you. That happens because of the hidden cultural flavors baked right into the language. There's this whole other layer of meaning that goes way beyond just the literal words.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for the explainer so you know exactly how we'll break this down. First, we'll look at the secret of idioms in general, and then we'll define the 50-cent tour. After that, we'll jump into its mid-20th century origins, check out some everyday examples in context, and wrap it all up with a story about Rachel's first day.
All right, Section 1, The Secret of Idioms. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole issue. Idioms are these incredibly colorful expressions that make American English sound so alive. But yeah, they can also be super confusing. They're basically little reflections of history and humor, which is exactly why translating them word for word just doesn't work. Like, look at these two classic examples. If someone tells you it's raining cats and dogs, there aren't literal animals falling out of the sky. It just means it's pouring rain. Or if a friend yawns and says they're going to hit the sack, they aren't about to go punch a literal bag. They're just heading to bed. You really have to learn the meaning of the phrase as one complete unified whole.
Which brings us to Section 2, Defining the 50-cent tour. So this is our target expression for today, and unlocking it is going to instantly level up your casual conversations. So the crucial point is that a 50-cent tour refers to a very quick, basic, or superficial overview of a place, an idea, or even a subject. When someone gives you a 50-cent tour, they're giving you just enough info so you get the general idea, but they are purposefully skipping all the deep, in-depth details. It's highly casual, and honestly, native speakers often use it kind of humorously to describe a brief walkthrough of something brand new.
Moving right along to Section 3, Mid-20th Century Origins.
Now, you might be wondering, why 50 cents? Why not $1? Well, picture the United States back in the mid-20th century. At that time, 50 cents was a very small amount of money. If you were visiting a local tourist attraction, a museum, or maybe some big manufacturing factory, they might offer you a budget, low-cost guided walkthrough for just $50. And because it was so cheap, it was a short, really fast physical tour that basically just skimmed the surface of the location.
If we trace this on our timeline, we could see how the language naturally evolved. What started out as those literal, cheap physical tours eventually morphed into a really popular phrase. The exact first written use is a little tough to pin down, but we definitely know it started appearing in American speech throughout the 1950s and 60s. And by the modern day, it has completely transformed. Today, it's a figurative phrase used for practically any brief explanation. You literally don't even need to be talking about a physical building anymore.
Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds. Everyday examples in context.
Because it's one thing to know the history of a phrase, right? But to actually master it, we need to see it in action. Here are two highly practical, real-world scenarios where this idiom pops up all the time. First up is office onboarding. When you walk into a new job on day one, your manager is super likely to say they'll give you the 50-cent tour of the building to introduce you to the team. Second, we see this constantly with technology. Like, if you're staring all confused at a brand new piece of software on your phone, a friend might lean over and go, "Here, let me give you a 50-cent tour of how this app works." They aren't trying to teach you every single feature. They just want to show you the absolute basics so you can get started.
And finally, Section 5, Rachel's first day.
All right, to move your brain away from just memorizing definitions and into actually retaining the language, let's anchor this in a relatable mini-story. Imagine a young professional named Rachel. She just landed her very first internship at this fast-paced marketing agency in New York. As you can probably guess, she shows up on her first day feeling incredibly nervous and intimidated. But almost immediately, her supervisor, Marcus, greets her with a warm smile and says, "Welcome aboard. Before we dive into spreadsheets and client meetings, let me give you a 50-cent tour."
So Marcus doesn't sit her down for some exhausting 3-hour orientation. Instead, they just take a quick stroll through the open office. Step 1, he points out the absolute most important thing, the coffee machine. Step 2, a quick nod to the conference rooms. Step 3, the break area that's fully stocked with snacks. And finally, Step 4, they walk past the creative team brainstorming at a whiteboard where Marcus jokes, and here's where the magic happens.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the psychological effect of this simple little phrase, breaking the ice. This superficial, quick walkthrough wasn't designed to teach Rachel everything there is to know about the company, but by casually offering a 50-cent tour, Marcus instantly lowered the stakes. It totally relieved Rachel's anxiety, it made the whole agency feel far less intimidating, and it really helped her feel right at home. And honestly, that is the true power of understanding the heart of American English. It helps you connect so much more deeply with the people around you.
Which brings us to a final, slightly provocative question for you. Who will you give a 50-cent tour today? Now that you have this secret cultural code unlocked, I'm challenging you to take it out into the real world. Seriously, practice using it. The next time you're showing a friend a cool new website, or maybe welcoming a guest into your home, try throwing that phrase in there. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Keep practicing, and I absolutely cannot wait to guide you through our next explainer.